Alright guys, Jameson, Alex, bringing you the second of 4 subclasses for the Blood Hunter. Today we're going to be talking about the Order of the Lycan. So, if you're new to the channel or to the subclass series, what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the abilities gained in this subclass. Then we're going to rate it based on its roleplay value, combat value, and overall class synergy, based on how the abilities gained in this subclass improve on the base class abilities.
Right.
Also have a giveaway for D&D Beyond Players Bundle.
Yes.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to be entered in that as well. So, we're going to jump straight into this. If you haven't already watched the Blood Hunter video that we did, make sure you check that out so you understand what we're talking about for the base class abilities.
That's going to be one you probably want to have it pulled up in front of you if you can, so you can follow along and be like, okay, there's just what
blood maledics, your brand of castrations,
crimson what? Right? Wait, esoteric, primal.
Who what? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, be prepared.
I think it's easily the most complicated base class.
Yeah, probably. It's comparable with Warlock with all the invocations and stuff, but digress.
Yeah.
Alex, what do we get starting off as a Lycan Blood Hunter?
Well, we get an extra little fun block of lore that isn't in the other ones because it talks about the onus of lycanthropy. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole little 3-paragraph bits as to what it's like and the effects it may have on the way your character plays and the history behind it and everything else. So that's an extra bit that's in there for flavor-wise, and I think it's really cool to read through. I'm not going to spend the next 5 minutes reading all that word for word, but it's a cool extra bit. It says onus of lycanthropy. It's pretty cool. So when you actually get to the subclass, you have heightened senses. You have advantage on perception checks that rely on your hearing or smell. You're a wear hybrid thing. It didn't make sense. Okay, then you have the whole thing. This whole subclass is built around hybrid transformation.
I like it.
And as a bonus action, you can transform into your hybrid form for up to 1 hour.
That's a long time.
Okay. You can speak, use equipment, and wear armor in this form, which is cool. You can revert to your normal form from earlier as a bonus action. You can automatically revert to your normal form if you fall unconscious, drop 0 hit points, or if you die. And then the feature replaces the rules for lycanthropy within the monster manual. So there's,
which is pretty
important.
Slim anyway.
Yeah. Once you finish this, you may finish a short or long rest where you can use this feature again. So it's once per short or long. Okay, now we actually have features of said hybrid transformation.
Yes.
Your Feral Might, you gain +1 to melee damage rolls. That's all melee damage rolls.
Yes.
This bonus increases to 2 at 11 and 3 at 18. You also have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. You're going to catch a recurring theme here of what this sounds like. Resilient Hide, you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical attacks not made with silver weapons. And that's really specific, but that's how wear stuff works. While you are not wearing heavy armor, you also gain +1 bonus to your AC. Now, where have I heard extra damage, advantage on strength attacks, and strength saving throws and checks, and resistance to BPS damage? What do you think about that?
I'm not sure now.
Predatory Strikes. You can also apply your Crimson Right feature to your unarmed strikes as a single weapon. You can use Dexterity instead of Strength for the attack and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes, a la Monk. When you use the attack action with an armed strike, you can make 1 unarmed strike as a bonus action, a la Monk.
Nice.
Your unarmed strikes deal 1d6 slashing damage. Damage increases to 1d8 at level 11. And finally, this is all at level 3. All this stuff happens right there.
Right off the bat.
What a dip.
Yeah, right.
You have, this is where stuff gets fun, Bloodlust. Beginning of your turn, if with no more than half of your maximum hit points, you must succeed on a DC 8. It's not high, but you got to succeed it. Wisdom saving throw or move directly towards the nearest creature to you and use the attack action against that creature. So friend or foe, doesn't matter. You can choose whether or not to use your extra attack feature for this frenzied attack. So if it is a friend, you can at least only hit them once, twice. Sure. If there's more than one possible target, roll to randomly turn the target. You then regain control for the remainder of your turn. So if you have movement left, or if you have one attack left, if you
have movement left,
there you go. It's there. It also says if you were under an effect that prevents you from concentrating, that's what I was thinking of, Barbarian's Rage feature, you automatically fail the saving throw. So obviously a lot of that goes when it feels like Barbarian and Monk had a kid between the extra rage damage.
Right, you're RPing as a Barbarian, as a Blood Hunter, essentially.
And punching things with claws like a Monk, or what a Beast Barbarian would do.
Yeah. So. Then at level 7, we have Stalker's Prowess. Your speed increases by 10 feet.
Sure.
You can also add 10 feet to your long jump distance and 3 feet to your high jump distance.
3 feet.
Yeah. In addition,
Okay.
Yeah, right. Your hybrid form gains the improved predatory strike feature, which gives you a +1 bonus to attack rolls made with your unarmed strikes. So note the difference here.
Yes.
This improved predatory strikes improves your attack roll hit chance for unarmed strikes.
Only with Fend.
Right. Whereas the Feral Might of the hybrid transformation is a +1 to melee damage rolls.
Hand.
There's a distinction.
Or weapon.
Right. So keep that in mind as well. In addition to that, it increases to a +2 at level 11 and a +3 at level 18. In addition, when you have an active Crimson Right in the hybrid form, your unarmed strikes are considered magical for purposes of overcoming resistance to immunity and resistance to non-magical attacks and damage. So very important if you're wanting to be able to use your claws effectively. Then at level 11, we have Advanced Transformation, so things start getting a little bit more interesting. You can use your hybrid transformation twice, regaining all expended uses when you finish a short or long rest. In addition, you gain Lycan Regeneration feature, which at the start of each of your turns, before you roll on the Bloodlust,
That's nice.
you regain hit points equal to 1 plus your Constitution modifier, if you have at least 1 hit point and no more than half of your hit points left. So it's trying to help you get out of that Bloodlust, essentially, because you do have to be missing half your hit points to be able to get the regen. But if you're just right on the edge there, it can help you not Bloodlust.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing with this feature of the Bloodlust thing is going to be telling your party members, if I'm going buck wild in here as a werewolf Lycan, you might want to keep your distance when I start taking some damage, because I might be attacking you.
Get stay out of my bubble. It's my space.
Or at least get, flanking or something, so you're a little bit further away than the thing that I'm
Just
saying
don't be standing next to me.
Exactly, yeah. So definitely have that in mind when you're transforming.
At 15, we get Brand of the Voracious. You have advantage on your wisdom saving throws to maintain control of your bloodlust in hybrid form. Nice. In addition, your brand of castigation, to make sure I pronounce it, now binds your foe to your hunter's thirst for savagery. While in your hybrid form, your attacks have advantage against a creature branded by you.
I'm sorry, say that again. What?
While in your hybrid form, the creature you have used your brand of castigation against, you have attacks of advantage against the creature branded by you.
Seems alright.
So, again, Crimson Right with advantage. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Very nice.
Fishing for crits.
Yeah.
Finally, we have Hybrid Transformation Mastery. At 18th level, you have wrestled with your inner predator and mastered it. You can use your Hybrid Transformation a limited number of times, and your hybrid form can now last indefinitely. Forever and ever, amen. You also gain the Blood Curse of the Howl for your Blood Curse Mallet feature. It does not count against your Blood Curses. No. So, with that extra blood curse that you get, as with all the other subclasses, you do get 1 free blood curse that's specific to your subclass and only you. Blood Curse of the Howl. I wonder which one that one makes sense to go with. Yeah, the one with all the were people. Somebody needs to play this, obviously, besides just doing the werewolf or the were-tiger, were-bear. Be some weird were-creature.
Were-giraffe.
Yes! I love it. I was going to say were-pig, but you had so much more fun with it than I did. A were-giraffe.
Just imagine. It just be a baby giraffe, though, because it can't be too big.
Just be headbutting people. You ever see giraffes fight? They whip their heads at each other each other.
That's your unarmed strike. It's just
okay.
Slash it with your ears. Anyways, tangent.
Sorry. Couldn't help ourselves. Blood Curse of the Howl. This is the only one of the blood curses that takes your whole action to use. There's a reason for that. Each creature within 30 feet of you, of your choice, that's very important, must see a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you until the end of turn. If they fail their saving throw by 5 or more, I love when abilities have that trigger like that, so if they're really bad at it and they get punished for it, they are stunned while frightened in this way. Creature that succeeds on saving throw is immune to this blood curse for the next 24 hours. And if you do choose to amplify it, that range goes all the way out to 60 feet.
That's a pretty good range on there.
And that's the only one of the blood curses that lets you increase the range to 60 feet. All the rest of them are at 30. So you do that. You hopefully, maybe you hit 3 things. Maybe you get stunned on one of them. Then, the bloodlust will just automatically activate on yourself because he's a hat lad. if he's been stunned before.
Going in.
Yeah.
So, all of that being said, those are the abilities gained in the subclass. So now we'll move on to the rating portion of the video.
Yes.
First up is the roleplay value asterisk. As always, when talking about roleplay value, we're talking about interacting with the world around you, interacting with NPCs, non-combat scenarios, avoiding combat, basically things outside of the initiative order. Not talking about acting out your class fantasy, history, lore, background. That's on you as a player. We can't rate you as a player, but we can rate the abilities gained in this subclass and how they might improve your potential in those role play scenarios. So, all that being said, looking at the Lycan on here, you'll notice a lot of these abilities are very focused on the combat side. You're getting bonuses to damage, bonuses to hit, extra AC,
transforming into like this half beast, half human creature. You're not gonna sit at the party and be like the guy who smooth talks through the people and oh no, you're trying to eat stuff. Got it.
Yeah, sure. That being said, you do get your advantage on perception checks for hearing and smell. So sure, that's a thing. And also at the very capstone on here with your howl, could very niche. It is possible. You could use that to frighten people or stun a bunch of civilians or something. Who knows?
Intimidation check. It's sucker you frighten them. Yeah.
And then of course there is, as I was just saying, with intimidations, depending on DM, you could try to like transform in front of someone to scare them or something.
Yep.
That's not typically. It's not exactly a mechanic, but it is mechanic tangent because you're using your mechanic to do so, and it does have a limited.
That falls
use
under the
on
rule of fun.
Right. So, and you do only have limited uses of it. So as a DM, I would consider that to be a good way to waste resources of the players. So I'd be like, sure, go ahead.
Go for it.
If you want to use your ability, you can use once per hour or per short rest, whatever. Go for it. Yeah. So definitely a potential on there. But all that being said, it's more on the niche side of things. So we went with just a simple 1.5.
Yes. There are some RP things, so it gets around the 1.
Yeah.
Not very much.
It's very situational, and again, like the howl is at level 18, which is very late to be able to do that. And at that point, you can just murder everyone anyway.
Yeah, so you're trying to eat everything before you scare it anyway.
So you have lots of ways to do stuff at that point.
Well, if things are not looking so good on the social aspect of things, probably means you're trying to kill a lot of stuff. Guess what were things like to do? To kill a lot of stuff. And as we kind of did the meta humor, joked around the whole barbarian thing, and it's interesting that he even brings it up about the whole concentration and barbarian rage, because like the whole
classed with barbarian.
Yeah,
I mean it's still probably be solid because you get your rage and
this extra damage.
Like,
yeah, cool. Lots of flat extra damage there. Obviously, the heightened senses just gonna be extra perception checks. That's not helping your combat at all. But your transformation thing, it is a bonus action, so you don't have to worry about it taking your whole first turn to do it, which is great. And I love the fact that it specifies you get to keep your armor and your other equipment.
Right.
Because something else that we thought about is like, well, you want to be using your unarmed strikes, so your weapon might clash with your fighting styles. Like just because you can use your claws to attack doesn't mean you have to. So you can still get your weapon attack for your extra attack, and then use your bonus action to smack somebody upside the head that way. Still works that way. But when you do your hybrid transformation, it lasts for an hour, not a minute like a barbarian rage would. And the other thing that Jameson pointed out, which is really important, is that you don't lose it. With barbarians, if you don't do damage or take damage before you get relentless rage, you will lose it. That is not the case here. It's just going to stick around. Yeah. You're going to be big angry form.
And you do get charges on short rest versus barbarians just for the day. You have your extra
you do have more of them to start with, but they're per day, so you can be really particular how you use them. But of course, extra melee damage and chance to hit with your unarmed strikes scales all the way up to a total of 3 each way. Resistance to BBS damage from non-magical attacks. Extra 1 to your AC as long as you're not wearing heavy armor. Your melee attack damage or unarmed strike damage scales up a little bit too to help with that. So that extra bonus attack does extra damage. Bloodlust is just a very cool combat flavory thing.
Right. It's interesting for sure.
To play around, which
makes you
sense.
think a little bit on when you get low on health, hard position, and stuff like that, which is interesting.
Stalker's Prowess giving you extra movement to get around the battlefield more. So if you need to, when you do go into rage form, you want to make sure you get to your stuff and make sure you get your hits in. Of course, lost my spot. There it is. And of course, you also get access at 7 to your unarmed strikes, overcoming resistance to immunity, non-magical attacks, which is great. And then your Lycan regeneration helps you keep yourself up and alive as you get lower, especially once you have at 15 have an advantage on your wisdom saving throw to not succumb to the bloodlust thing.
Right.
So you won't feel as endangered for being down underneath there. And while in hybrid form, you have advantage on attacks that whoever you use your brand of castigation against. Love that.
That's cool.
Yeah, and again, that is a once per short rest ability with the brand.
Right.
But as James has said, if you find the biggest, beefiest thing and you make his day terrible, is basically what you're going to do. Because you're going to, with your Crimson Rite active on all your attacks that you're getting advantage on all those attacks, just hoping to get the crit. Because if you do make it to level 20, and you do get a crit because you got all these advantage attacks, you do get an extra use of your Blood Melodic back on a crit if you do make it to level 20. So that's always fun to help get around into more of those.
Right.
And finally, at 18... you can use your transformation any number of times. It lasts as long as you want to, and you get your howl, of course, which is especially good if you get the stun trigger. If not, at the very least, frightened stuff can get closer to you, so you can't get swarmed.
Yeah.
If you confront a couple things, let you to fight what you want to fight.
Right. Definitely some interesting choices on there.
So overall, we went with a 4.5 out of possible 5, and again, kind of with like we did the Ghost Slayer thing. The only real limitations you run into here is until you get to 18. You are limited with a lot of the Blood Hunter as far as number of uses you get to stuff. It's once per short rest. It's twice per short rest. It's not abilities you can just use all the time.
Yeah, like the regen is only when you're below half health.
Yeah.
You're having to use I want to say castration every time now. Did that to myself.
That's my fault.
Anyways,
I brought it the first time.
So there is that as well to keep in mind. There's, again, just limited uses on things.
Yep. But when you use them, they work.
Yeah, they're effective for sure. And then lastly, we have the overall class synergy. The main things here to synergize with the Blood Hunter, you have your Blood Maledics, you have your Crimson Rites, you have your Brand of Castigation.
He got it.
Almost said it again. Those are going to be your main primary things to deal with in the base class to synergize with. And looking at the subclass on here, you're going to be touching a good amount of those things. You're getting some extra uses for your Brand of Castigation, which I almost say castration every single time now. It's just a thing. Probably just going to flow with it and just say it anyways. So with that, when you're getting the advantage on all your attacks, you're probably going to be some castration in there. Let's be honest. Anyways,
if you don't do that at least
say
once,
castration in one video, let's squish. Anyways, all that being said, looking at the advantage on the attack. Sorry, just trying to get
hey, get it together.
Zone it in. The unlimited number of times to transform is nice. It's
all
not
the way at 18.
super helpful, but it is at 18. And again, I think the Bloodlust isn't really that much to worry about. It's a wisdom save of 8. You're not going to have much of a high wisdom on here. The thing that I'm more concerned about with, and the synergy side, is the fighting styles.
Yep.
You only have 4 options of fighting styles in the base class that it lets you choose from.
As it is written.
Specifically, I mean, Matt Mercer, who created it, did specifically choose these 4 for the reason of, he said that the Blood Hunter is supposed to be more of an aggressive type. That's why there's not protection or defense on the fighting styles. So you only have archery, dueling, great weapon fighting, and 2-weapon fighting. Which, with those, they're specific to weapons.
Yep.
And if you're using unarmed strikes, they don't really benefit from you.
Right.
And if you're doing your unarmed strikes, you get your extra bonus action attack. Versus if you're using a weapon, you're only going to get the attacks with the weapons. So you're going to get 2 attacks versus 3 attacks, but you could use a greatsword. So it's kind of a toss-up on there. So it's like, well, what do I want to use or not use? That's up to you, but there's a little bit of awkwardness there with the fighting style.
Because there's no direct, obvious option to pair with it.
And then the other thing, too, is you have some of the stuff here based on your strength or dex, and then you have your constitution as well being a part, being in melee and all of that stuff, and with your Lycan regeneration. Mm-hmm. But then your howl is intelligence-based, the save.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Blood Hunter's saves are based on. So you have a little bit of a weird, mad situation going on with the multi-ability scores. Yeah. So that can kind of come into play a little bit. But overall, I think there's some good synergy with the Crimson Rites and the advantages and things like that. So I just went with a 4 in the class synergy.
And there's a ton of extra survivability for you being in melee.
Exactly.
Base class, you get to start with a D10 hit die anyway, so you're on that, that next to top tier barbarian, and then the 3 joining ranger and paladin.
A comparable armor class as well with when you're transformed with medium armor, you get the +1 bonus to your AC. It's going to be about 17 if you got decent medium armor. So in a 14 dex at least. So there's that.
So you get the resistance to the damages. So more survivability in general is at least a little bit of help with your synergies because you're staying alive better and you're not having to spend any uses to anything with as far as extra damage stuff besides your whole transformation is the use. But like it's not like you're a spellcaster. You're using a spell slot to give yourself shield to bring your armor class up.
Right.
So it's just like, this is my whole thing is built around this transformation thing. So it works out well.
So that's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you know when all of our new videos are coming out. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about the Bloodhunter, about the subclasses, what you want to see from us in the future. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.
You'll make a shirt on for the Lycan video. Here we go.
I'm liking it.
Painful.
That's probably going to the end of the video.
Please do.
All right.